Alright, we're going to go through this very quickly on here in case you missed it. So we have solving equations review. This is going to go through all different scenarios of solving equations. So first we have one-step equations. So I always tell people I draw this line down the middle. You don't have to do that, not the middle, but over the equal sign. And that is just to help keep myself organized. So in the first one we have a 7 that's being added on. So to undo that, we're going to subtract it from both sides. And that gives me x equals 1. On example 2, we have x is being divided by 4, so the opposite of divide by 4 is multiply by 4. People often get freaked out by fractions. Just remember that a fraction is simply division. So these cancel here. That's why we did that. And this would give me negative 180. Okay, number 2. We have this is almost like a negative 1 in front of the x there being multiplied on. So to undo that, I'm going to divide both sides by negative 1, which means x is going to be negative 6. Okay, example 4, we're going to add 3 to both sides. And there you have it. So those are our one-steppers. Those are the quick ones. Okay, now we go into 2 steps. So here, you got to look at what's happening to the x and undo it in the opposite order. So the x is being multiplied by 3, and then it has a 5 added on. So to undo that, I'm going to subtract 5. And then I'm going to divide by 3. And I'm going to leave this in a fraction. Whenever you round a decimal off, then it is no longer a exact answer. It becomes an estimated answer. So when you can leave stuff in fractions, leave them in fractions. Okay, here we have this 8. Remember the sign in front of it? So this is a positive 8. Don't get confused by that negative that's in front of the 2 there. And then I'm going to divide both sides by negative 2. And I get x equals negative 11. And remember, if I'm going too fast, you can always pause and rewind or whatnot. So here the first thing I'm going to do is get rid of that minus 1 by adding 1 to both sides. Now I have x divided by 2 equals 7. So to get rid of that divide by 2, I'm going to multiply both sides by 2. And I get 14 for x. Okay, example 8. First thing we're going to do is get rid of the minus 3 by adding it to both sides. Now we're going to divide both sides by 4. There you have it. Okay, on to the next side. So now we're looking at more multi-step. So here we have variables on both sides. We see problems like this in geometry a lot. So what I like to do is always gather my variables on one side to start. And I will commonly pick whatever the lower one is. So like here I'm taking between a 4x and a 2x, I'm moving the 2x. You don't have to do that. There's lots of different correct ways you can get to the answer on these. So I end up with 2x equals 8, and then I'm going to divide both sides by 2. And I get x equals 4. Okay, so here 3x and an x, I'm going to start by subtracting x. This is like a 1x when you see the x by itself there. So 3x minus 1x leaves me with 2x. Now I'm going to get rid of that plus 2 by subtracting it, moving it over to the other side. And then lastly, divide both sides by 2. Okay, next one. Now we're getting into where we need to combine some like terms first. So look on each side and see if there's anything you can combine. So on here I'm going to combine this 6x and 5x. Those are like terms, so they're going to combine together. And now I'm going to gather my variables on the same side like I was doing on the last couple problems. So subtract 2x from both sides. Now I'm going to add 4. And lastly, divide by 9. So 4/9 cannot be simplified at all. There's nothing that goes into both of those. So I'm just leaving the answer just like that. X equals negative 4/9. Okay, on number 12, we have the distributive property that has to happen first. So a common mistake here is to forget to multiply that 3 out by the second value in there. So the 3 also multiplies by the 5 to make it 15. And now let's get our variables on the same side. So I'm going to subtract 3x from both sides. We get 15 equals 5x. And then divide both sides by 5. And I end up with x equals 3, or 3 equals x. Okay, 2 more. Cruising through these quick here. So distributive property again, we have distributive property on both sides here. So that becomes 27 plus 9x equals 12 plus 4x. Now we're going to bring my variables all to one side. So 27 plus 5x equals 12. Subtract 27. We get negative 15. And divide by 5. X equals negative 3. Okay, one more. So combine any like terms you can combine first. So I have 5x and a negative 2x, which is going to give me 3x. And then I have a negative 4 and a positive 1, which gives me negative 3. And now we're back to like a two-step equation. Add 3,